Good morning from Plum Farm. This morning we're going to be working on the beehives. I'm trying to get my deeps and mediums ready for the season to start. It is February 20th. As you can see, it is in the mid-70s here already every day. Now next week we are going to get a cold snap, so I'm taking this time to get everything prepared. But my mayhaw trees and my blueberries have already started blooming, and the bees are out quite a bit now because it's been so warm for the last 2 weeks. We just want to be prepared. You know, I'm a second-year beekeeper, so everything's kind of in the new phase for me. Last year we did pretty well. We had 7 hives going into the winter, and I lost 2. They just weren't strong enough to make it, is what it boils down to. And then I fed my other new hives over the winter. So they did okay. But as you can see, I've got quite a bit of bee equipment for a second-year guy. I was fortunate enough to run into a guy in Texas who was downsizing. So I was able to buy 15 medium boxes to be able to have drawn-out comb. He sold it with the drawn-out comb. And let me get one to show you. This puts us ahead of the game. So what I'm doing when I put these on, all the bees are going to have to do is clean it up a little bit, and then they can start laying nectar and getting ready to make their honey and getting well ahead of them. Then I've got my medium frames that I'm repairing from last year. I learned a valuable lesson last year not to use the nails they send with these frames because my deeps are too heavy. When I tried to take them out, they just came apart in my hands. So I'm pulling all these nails out and I'm replacing them with staples, with the trusty staple gun. All the ones I had stapled last year were fine, so we had no problems with those. But like I said, my priority is getting my deeps ready for the year, and what I've done this year is I'm wiring my frames. As you can see, I've got my wire here, and I'm going to build one to show you what I'm doing on the wired frames. And I'm going to repair a couple of these frames that came apart. As you can see, it had the nails in it, and they're garbage. They just are useless. Let me turn this around so I can see me. There. Need to turn my monitor around so I can see what I'm talking about. So anyway, this is a nice drawn out deep frame that I need to repair and get it in there. And once I do my frames, I do wax them for the ones that don't have drawn comb on them. I do a heavy waxing on them and put them intermixed in throughout the boxes. That way it encourages the bees to come up and start working on the drawn comb, but the new frames in here are heavily waxed, so they don't have to work as hard to get them going. But like I said, I mix them 1 to 1, that way they have frames to work on, and I make sure I've got my 10 full frames and that they're perfectly fitted in here because I don't want the bees drawing out too far. There's recommendations of not using any foundations. I tried that, and that was an absolute disaster for me. But then the girl that kind of mentored me mentioned that those boxes have to be perfectly level if you're going to not use the foundations, otherwise the bees will make wonky comb. Well, I was unaware of that, but anyway, I'm no longer going to do the foundationless. I'm going to be doing frames with foundation wired. That way the frames are steady and sturdy and the foundations are sturdy. Now I wear 7mm rubber gloves when I'm working with this wire because it is extremely thin and will cut you quickly. So I go with the wire with my blue gloves on. These are the same gloves I use when I work my bees when they're in a pretty passive state, because it's pretty hard for them to sting through these if they get mad. They can, but it's pretty hard. And I should have bought extra large. These are a little bit on the tight side for me, but it is what it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly put together a frame with wiring, then the foundation. I'm not going to go through and show you how to wax. I think most people, maybe later I'll show waxing, but I got to get my frames built first, and then I'll be prepared to do the waxing, and that'll be a separate video. So we get the frame put together real quick, and I won't get too concerned about this base because until you start putting the staples in it, it'll pop in and out. Grab my staple gun, and I pop a couple of staples in here. Make sure you set your air as closely as to what it recommends for your staple so it doesn't push the staple too deeply in there and split the wood. There, that's done. While we're at it, I'd like to give a shout out to my brother for donating this building to us. He used to ride a Harley, got rid of it. And now we have the building. So, since we're doing wired frames, you put these little grommets in your frame so it doesn't cut into the frame or dig into the frame. These are tiny little grommets. I don't know if you can see this clearly, but it's a tiny little grommet for sewing. But you put those, they have 4 holes in these ready-made frames, but you don't have to use all 4. You can do top, bottom, or all 4. Depends on what you want to do with it, but I just do the top and the bottom. Makes it a little easier to get the foundation into it. Should have wore my bandana today. It's already pretty toasty here. Louisiana's a funny creature. 2.5 weeks ago, I was turning the water off at the road because it was so cold and freezing out there that at night I had to turn it off at the road. So next we got to take a nail, one of the little small nails that comes with this package to do frames. Take the little bitty nail, and I grab my nail with a little pair of pliers so I don't hammer my finger because these nails are tiny. And you have to put the nails in there because you have to be able to tie your wire or something. So I just tap it in a little ways until it meets the end of this. And that way I'm ready for my wire. So now I need to run my wire through the box without making a mess here. I don't have a spindle for my wire to be on, which is recommended. I need to make something. So we'll come through the hole. I come through the top hole. Pull my wire through. Top hole on the other side. I'm doing this backwards. I need my nail over here on this side by my right because I got to tie off into it. So again, go through the top hole and bring it across. Go through this hole, pull it on through, then we go through the bottom. Try to keep your wires as straight as possible. These things crimp up on you a little bit. And we're through the hole. Okay, so now we take the wire around our nail here to tack it down. I wrap it around twice. So now we've got it tacked down to the nail, so we take the wire on this side and we pull it as tight as we can get it. This is why I wear these rubber gloves, because this wire is thin, and I can feel it trying to cut into my skin, but you know, because this is thick enough rubber or latex, you know, I do okay. So now we take it and we wrap it around this one for the other side. After about 2 wraps, and I take my hammer, nail it down, and it's done. I need wire cutters for this, but I don't have them right now, so I'm just gonna break it free. I've got to go get my wire cutters. My wife took them back in the shed. I will cut this section out. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back with the wire cutters that my wife had put up, which is the right thing to do. Cut it off, and that's good to go. Make sure I take the nail that comes through the inside, and I just try to tap it down a little bit so I'm not catching my fingers on it. Now we take the foundation and do it the easy way. You come through the foundation and the wire just like this, and then you put the base in, or the top I should say, into this groove, and it's in there. And now all I got to do, I've got the wire on this side for one side and the wire on the other side up at the top. So now I just pop it in. Make sure everything's in there nice. And therefore, now we got another frame made, and it's ready to be waxed. And that'll be later. Now what I'd like to do is show you this frame that I'm working on repairing. I do need to get another arm for it, but it's a nice drawn out comb, and as you can see, it had the nails in it. And when I harvested, it was heavy, so the nails are pulling out and it broke the frame. So now I'm going to repair the frame for use this year with staples. And then I've got another nice drawn out frame for the bees to get busy on right off the bat. Nail somewhere, but it'll be found. There. Now the nails are out. The bottom nails, I try to take them out too if I can. Sometimes they're a bit of a challenge, but it's easier with the nails out. There we go. It's coming right out. To be able to put the staple in there without making the staple go haywire on you. So there's that nail out. Staple the bottom of this one. Staple it nice and tight. And now I just need to find another arm, side arm for this one to get this repaired. Stand by. Alright, I'm going to steal this one This is one of the ones I tried to do with no foundation, and as you can see, it became a mess. So I'm done with the no foundations. As you can see how easy it is to pull these apart with these nails, and the nails just come right out and they stay in the frame. So I need to clean this off with the high tool, get it out of the way. Okay. Alright, that's done. Now we're going to try to get this put together. Get this frame back in where it needs to be. There we go. Now everything's back in place. Propolis in the way there. Get it. Propolis in the way, possibly. Well, I'm going to finish this later. No use making y'all stand here and watch me try to clean these grooves up. But you get the gist of the picture of what I'm trying to do here with putting a new side on it and getting this frame ready to go back in a box. That's the plan for what we're doing right now to get everything ready for spring. We're hot into it right now, but I wanted to show you what I'm doing with these frames, and you know, hopefully we do a better job this year, especially with as many deep boxes I have now, ready to double up on my deep boxes and leave them in the future, and then just starting adding my supers. And with the drawn out comb on my supers, hopefully we have a better harvest this year. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time whenever we continue with the frames and the waxing, to give you an idea of how much waxing I do on these frames. So take care, we'll talk to you later.